Welcome to 999 Show, and we're back doing interviews and so forth. And my first guest of the new season is Sarah from Tarot and Oracle of the Soul. And what we're going to be talking about today is essentially is intentional magic, though Reiki is not necessarily magic, but in a sense that it is the manipulation of energy, that it is a some kind of a spiritual technology. And in my mind, I see that as a practice of magic, but it's not a sleight of hand. It's something much deeper than that. And so we're welcoming Sarah, and she is going to tell us uh, a bit more about Reiki than what she talked about the last time she was on. And
Yes.
so turn it on over to you.
Well, thank you, Bill. Thank you for having me back. So, magic of Reiki, the magic of Reiki is with a K. So this is one of my favorite books. Like anyone who's interested in learning more about Reiki, if you can't find someone or you just want to know, I highly recommend this book. Magic of Reiki by Christopher Penzock. This book is amazing. And I wanted to touch on Bill. I had said that Yusui, he's the person who discovered, or as they say, like rediscovered Reiki. I had used the word download, and that was my own use. And you said, well, what did they use before? So I'm going to read from this book, the Reiki Manual. Now, the origin story from this book is not the story that I was taught, but I'm going to come around to that. So this is what this book by Penelope Quest says is the history. So it says Dr. Makayo Yusui from 1865 to 1926 was a learned scholar who taught in a Christian seminary in Japan, where he was one day challenged by one of his students who asked him if he believed in the stories of the Bible of Jesus healing, and if so, when were they going to be taught how to heal? It was said that as an honorable Japanese gentleman, upon realizing that he could not teach his students any healing techniques, Dr. Yusui dedicated the rest of his life to finding out how Jesus and the Buddha had been able to heal. So it says he was said to have traveled widely and learned other languages in order to research both Christian and Buddhist teachings, before finally ending up in a Zen Buddhist monastery where the abbot advised him to meditate and find the answers he was seeking. So he went on a 21 fasting retreat on Mount Karama, and he was struck by a great light, and he saw the sacred symbols, the calligraphy, the shapes he discovered earlier during his research, and came to a deep understanding of those symbols. So like this book says it's lightning. Now, if I go to my favorite book, and I was just taught that it was kind of like he saw light and the symbols kind of like he just kind of understood them. Now, this book is awesome because it kind of I was taught that he was a Buddhist monk, and he did the retreat, and he, I didn't know he was Christian, and I don't there's actually no proof that he was actually Christian. That came later to kind of make it so that people in the United States were not afraid of learning
Great.
this technique. Like, okay, well, Jesus did it. Jesus laid his hands on people and healed people, so it's okay. So this one talks about how he even studied he studied everything, like all major religions, Hinduism, and um like all of these things. But of course, um there's no proof of that. There was no proof that he taught at a Christian school. There's no proof that he did all this. The proof is that he went on a 21-day fast, and he received through light the symbols, and then he went on to set up a clinic and help people. And he did this clinic for free. And he didn't really like, he taught people, but it was only like one or two people he actually like taught how to, we call it attunements, how to attune people to the symbols. Now I have one of the symbols on. This is Chokure. This is the power symbol, and we do this to charge like all the other symbols.
Mm.
So I like this book because Christopher writes this whole kind of like mythos about like how it's from the aliens and da 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 da. But it's interesting because now that it's been in the United States, there's all these offshoots. So there's like Karuna Reiki with an emphasis on Kuan Yin and love. And then my favorite is Blue Star Reiki. So Blue Star Reiki is supposedly, and it's actually connected to Blue Star like Wicca, like a practice. Um, and this Blue Star says that it's from um, the Pleiades, the Great Bear, and the Sirius constellation. So this one really does say like this energy is from aliens,
It's from
and this
alien.
one claims that Mother Mary is. Let me read it to you. Um, let's see. According to various esoteric Christian mystery school concepts, the Blessed Virgin Mary was from the Pleiades, while the Christ came from Sirius. The mother son duality came to bring peace and galactic healing. The last 2,000 years were about advancing the human conscious level to the understanding of the need for this healing through the vehicle of love, the water element. And now that we're in the new millennium, it's about the manifestation of this power through the vehicle of the mind, the air element. Maintaining a profound sense of balance between mind and heart is the key to the utilization and manifestation of blue star celestial energy. Blue star celestial energy is the vehicle for bringing total peace and planetary healing as fast as it can happen. Um, so I guess we need some more blue star. Like everyone, go get attuned to Reiki and like let's get this piece on the road. So that's why I'm wearing blue and I have shells on because I want to tap into.
I got some blue from my spam hat, you know.
Awesome.
The colors of spam, you know, the spam can is blue and gold. And so now, being that you're in New Mexico, do you feel that alien in, because there's all that mythos, the mythology of the Roswell crash and all that stuff, and about New Mexico. And so, do you feel like there's this alien energy, like that Reiki or whatever that it came from beyond our world, or
So the energy in New Mexico is very, very grounded. I would say the energy here is very earth energy and not alien at all. If you want like alien energy, that's in Arizona. And I would say that's in like
oh,
Sedona or even Phoenix. The number of people like hybrids, alien hybrids, and like people who are like, I'm a star seed that I met are um was, it was like every other person. Now there's people here, who grew up in Roswell who um they'll like tell stories and they believe in the crash. Some people believe in the crash and some people don't. Um but I don't feel like there's a lot of that. This is a very conservative town. It's a farming town. So everybody here is very like grounded. They're all about manifesting what you can create from the earth or, just what's right here in front of them. They're not worried about like, okay, aliens. Like if anything, the crash brought negative attention that they didn't want from their town. This was a dairy town. This was a farming town, and this town has just shy of 50,000 people. So it's a city, right? But the people, the elders of the community, and the politicians do not want this city to grow. And there's a fight between the new people moving in who want to promote the alien, uh the Roswell incident and aliens, and then the people who were born and raised here who want to keep it farming. So they keep this like a very tight noose around the town. They don't want growth. They don't want newness, and they really push back against, it's surprising that they even do the Roswell Alien Festival in July. um and they only do it and they only allow it and continue to allow it because it brings the town so much money. But this is an interesting town that everyone here is very, very, very um, Christian and very evangelical Christian, not just Christian, but they're not liberal Christians.
Yeah.
There's no open mindedness here. Um, and it's very rigid. The energy here is very, very rigid. Now in Phoenix, everyone's very Christian there as well. However, people are way more open minded, and um, you see kind of like new concepts and acceptance of like aliens and thing. So I think if you're interested in like traveling and like feeling kind of like or meeting people who may like consider themselves to be like alien or have alien energy, go to
Yeah.
Phoenix, go to Sedona. Um, but it's not Roswell. Roswell is very conservative and it's very close-minded to new people, new ideas. It's very resistant to change.
Mm. Well, I suppose, if they want to just, yeah, I could see that. I could see that. You want to keep your areas as they were, and yeah. So, Mr. Mission Control, welcome. All right, Metaphysical University. Yeah, yeah. So anyway, so we got that energy that's there. I mean, it's like my uncle. He was in the Air Force, but actually, there was like claims that he saw like UFOs when he was a kid. Now, maybe no one else and his brothers and sisters kind of felt that way, and maybe what they did see was blimps from Tillamook, because Tillamook had three big blimp barns at one time, and they during World War there was only one blimp barn left, and it's an air museum. I was just in Tillamook yesterday, and for a brief moment of time, and nevertheless, it may be that, but he was in the Air Force, and stationed in Labrador, and he was always seeing anomalous things on the radar. So that's what his experience was. But nevertheless, that's about aliens, and that's not necessarily about Reiki. But then this whole sense, the symbology, you have the symbols, and how so those are kind of like tools. Then in the Reiki, you use tools in order to facilitate healing. So like in the Bible, Jesus took some mud and then he made a paste and he stuck it on the guy's eyelids and then gave a little hands-on thing, and then the guy could see again. And so that's kind of like using a tool to facilitate a healing practice. And but nevertheless, welcome Angie, welcome Mr. Mission Control. and and so then it has so the Reiki. Did it now, did it come from Japan or did it come from somewhere else?
No, it came from Japan and it was brought over by a Hawaiian woman. She went to Japan. She'd been suffering with a lot of like chronic illnesses that Western medicine just couldn't take care of. And her family was, I think they were Japanese. And she ended up in Japan and she ended up at one of his clinics. And she was going like every day, every day, every day, every day. I don't know how long. And she ended up being like cured of her ailments. And she kind of like knew like A, she's a foreigner, B, she's a woman. All the practitioners had been men. A lot of them had been trained as doctors as well. She's like, are they're not going to teach me. I'm an outsider. I'm from Hawaii. Like they're not going to. But she had a friend, a doctor friend, who she went and petitioned, and he like vouched for her, and so she was able to learn because she wanted to learn so she could teach other people, and then also to continue to do this energy on herself. So she got approved, and she brought it back to Hawaii. And then she only taught, I think, her sister. She only taught one other person.
Hmm.
But then the sister must have, she spread it. But Yusui during his life, like, kind of kept Reiki like really close. Like they set up schools and institutes, and they taught people, but they didn't teach people how to like give the attunements, and they didn't teach people how to like teach it until like later on. And he only taught like three people. So Takata, her name was, she was one of the three people. Let me see. Um, mm, mm, mm. So there's another person too. There's Dr. Hayashi, a retired Japanese naval officer who met him and he was taught it. And then there was Hawayo Takata. She was Hawaiian, born to Japanese immigrants. And so yeah, she's the one who like brought it back. And then there was like one other person who I don't really know who the other person is. Like I was only taught from my teacher about Takata. She's the person who my Usui Reiki, like that's her lineage. So, anything with like Japanese, it's all about like lineage, like who taught you, like, and they like map it out. It's almost like a family tree. And so her lineage goes back to Takata. So I didn't learn about the other two people. I only learned about the Hawaiian woman who brought it to the United States. But now, there's so many types. Like, let me see. There's so many types of Reiki. Let's see, 113. And like so many people teaching it and kind of like um, making it their own. There is the radiance technique. There's something called like Shizum, Taramai, Karuna, Shambhala, shamanic Reiki. So shamanic Reiki is the one that uses like crystals, rattles, drums. So I have like a shamanic drum. So I do like using those tools with my Reiki because it incorporates like vibration as well as um, the symbols. There is magnified healing, Jolrei, Blue Star, Wichi, Tibetan, Reiki, and there's just so many besides just Usui. There's all these other but I love Christopher Penzock's book because so a lot of Reiki teachers like to gatekeep and they don't believe you should like this is kind of like sacrilege to them. Like you shouldn't show people the symbols. Like it's supposed to be secret. But Christopher Penzock has this book and he gives all the symbols from all the different traditions. And he explains how to use them, and it's awesome. So that's why I love this book because there's no gatekeeping and he makes it accessible to everybody.
So like, like within Western tradition of religions, there were a lot of secret societies, and for some people, Reiki is like one of these secret societies, and they have the secret knowledge that they pass on, so that you have a separation between you and your client, and you have the knowledge, and they can only get that knowledge if they come to you to in order to do this. And so, um, did I ask the last time if there was like any difference between like chiropractic and Reiki? Because chiropractors, like they claim that by doing all these manipulations of the spine that you can cure all these diseases and so forth. Now maybe does that kind of stuff happen within the realm of Reiki, or do people make claims that they can cure all kinds of diseases by doing this? And
So, um, Reiki can heal physically, um, but you have to like be very strict. Like you literally have to get Reiki like every day, and it has to be for like 45 minutes to an hour and a half. Now with Yusui and his clinic, it would be two practitioners working on one person, and they would work on the person for like an hour. Um, but that is a really long time to be channeling energy. And usually practitioners now, unless you go to a Reiki share where anyone can go and they can like, it's for students to practice. um, but you're only getting it, you're going to have like 3 4 5 people working on you at one time, but you're only going to be on the table for like 15 minutes.
right,
So there's really nowhere to go. I mean, some practitioners do an hour, but I only offer 30 minutes. Like that's the most. But you would have to go every single day. And you would have to, you know, I would claim because, before you get your attunement, so to speak, you're supposed to like fast, and you're supposed to kind of clear your body. Like, a lot of magical orders and even Christians do this, where you have to have a clear body, mind, spirit, right? So you abstain from like meat, like you drink lots of water, you fast, and then you work with the symbols that you've been downloaded for 21 days. So 21 days in Reiki is like a very important thing, where you have to work with the energy for 21 days. So yes, it can heal, like it healed um the Hawaiian woman of her physical ailments, but she was going every day, and it takes months. And um you know unfortunately, in the United States, there are some people who do it for free. And now my teacher, she taught us that um we were supposed to do it for free, but if you come from any other kind of magical background, that's an exchange of energy. It doesn't matter that the energy isn't coming from me, because they say it's not coming from me, it's coming from source.
mhm,
um but there's still an exchange, and that person needs to pay you. And unfortunately, we live in a capitalistic society, and we need, so
yeah,
I will send Reiki to people like from a distance for free, or do kind of like exchanges. Um, but to sit and like have somebody on a table and like work on them for an hour, most people would need to be reimbursed. Unfortunately, that's just the society we live in. We don't live in the early 1900s in Japan, where things are set up differently.
yeah,
Um, so um, that's kind of, it's a point of contention between, the traditional Reiki practitioners are like, you don't charge, and then the new school that is, but that's still your time, your energy, and your body is still your resource. We're not giving away things for free.
yeah.
But that is a very capitalistic way of looking things at things. But unfortunately, we live in a hyper capitalistic society. um I wouldn't like go to an acupuncturist and be like, and demand that they work on me for free. And it's kind of the same thing, because the acupuncturist, yeah, they have more schooling, and they, um but they paid money, I paid money, and everybody else paid money to learn this. And some people paid thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to learn Reiki.
Mhm,
And
yeah.
so to just give it away for free, I mean, if you are able to, then great. But I don't know many people who are in that financial position who can, do things all the time for free, maybe here and there. But
Welcome, Anna, and she's telling you hello, Sarah, and
Hi, Anna. Thanks
Yeah.
for
So,
joining.
all right. So, no free lunch here. So, guess what was it? What I was thinking of was like, I brought this up the last time because I did when I was younger. I did like an extensive reading of Star Trek in the novels, and of course, a lot of this stuff never made it into the TV series. But where in the Star Trek universe of the Star Trek novels, the doctoring, a lot of it was so when Dr. McCoy used little doohickey, well, that was like an energy, that was a frequency. It kind of helped to facilitate the change of energy frequencies within the body to facilitate healing. And so, in a sense that, in that sense, um, that that's almost kind of like the Reiki thing, or if you think of the what do they call it? The universal force or something like that. And
Reiki
it,
just means universal life force energy. So yeah, the symbols act that same way. Like, so you draw the symbol on your hands and then lay your hands on the person, or you visualize that symbol going into the person's body, and yeah, it changes the frequency of that person's body and allows them to heal themselves. So, we say that, like, as the practitioner, we're not doing anything. We're facilitating, allowing the person to heal themselves, right? So it's really their body. So it is a change of frequency. That's why I said I like shamanic Reiki, because you have the drum. So I don't know, like that vibration changes the frequency quicker in the body, or like a rattle, or putting crystals on the body on different points, it changes the frequency and allows people's body to heal. A lot of times, it comes back to emotional intelligence, right? So we know in psychology that if we process our emotions, if we allow our emotions to just like flow through us and not stop them, then that's healthier. But unfortunately, in our society, we are not taught to embrace or feel or even let emotions flow and just like release them. We are taught to stop and suppress and like push them down. And when we do that, we we are like keeping the energy stuck, and it's lowering our frequency, and it's messing up our own natural healing ability. So they say, like, okay, so watch animals, like they
mm,
shake a lot. So what they're doing is, as they're shaking off um, emotions or energy that doesn't feel good to them. So what's
mm,
really like something that's good to do, if you are trying to process emotions, is to like shake, or like that's why dancing is really healing, because you're moving your body. So moving your body and not just letting things sit is like really important. And this all like ties together. And I really love like how like psychology and like spirituality and like medicine and it all, if you really look at it and you really break it down, it's all doing the same thing.
mm. So animals moving. So like maybe that's kind of what a person who is on the neurodivergent spectrum when they're moving around and what is that, stemming? Is that what they call
Yeah,
that?
it's
Maybe
still,
that's sort of readjusting their emotional balance.
yep.
Is that kind of what's going on, or something like that? And
Yeah. And so like that's why stimming, like, and even people who aren't neurodivergent or autistic, um, it helps. So it like is a way to self-soothe, it's a way to like reset, it's a way to let that energy like flow through your body, because if you let that energy stay stuck, like Anna saying, like it creates the fibromyalgia, it creates all these, there's over 100 autoimmune diseases. There's all these different autoimmune diseases that are on the rise, and it's because we are I mean, we have all these microplastics, right? And we have all these bad environmental things. We're not taking care of our environment, we're not taking care of our bodies, we are not taking care of we're not taking care of anything, right? Like, we are just kind of on autopilot right now as a society and as a human race. And we're not taking care of the as above, so below. Like, we're not taking care of anything. We're just like, oh, um, you know, let's colonize, Earth, and like, let's colonize our bodies. And like, that's the mindset that we are all powerful and that like we don't have to take care of anything, but that's not true. Like, we need to take care of our earth, we need to take care of our body, we need to take care of our mind. um we need to take care of our communities. Like, um I hope you don't mind me saying, like, you were talking about how you were feeling isolated, and that's how I've been feeling, like, very, very isolated. I'm trying to find community. I've lived in Roswell for 2 years, and I have some, good friends, and like, but it's still very, very isolating. And I guess it's like happening. It's probably happening by design. Like, everyone feels cut off, isolated, alone, and that's not good for people's mental health or even physical health either. Like, we are meant to be social creatures. We are meant to, be able to go out or have people over, and people just aren't doing that right now because, like you said, everybody's working so hard, or they are like broke. Like, nobody has any extra money
Yeah.
because so expensive. So it's like, how do you go out and like do things when you're broke and you're exhausted and you're tired? Like, there's no time for community. There's no time for friends. There's no time for exercise or healing or Reiki or, you know, and then we're all, and I'm so addicted to my phone, to YouTube, and
Yeah.
that's not healthy either. Like, we need, I love um I love, Randy, what happened to your rapture? I thought you were gonna go. Too bad. Um anyway.
Welcome, Randy. But you can just but yeah, that's fine.
Okay, Randy, you can repent. Thank you so much. Yes, thank you, Anna. Thank you so much. um
But you can
so
stay and listen, Randy. Maybe you might see the light. But at the very least, I'll take your watch time.
yeah, exactly. Thanks for watching. Thanks for giving us your time, your energy, because energy
Yeah.
is very precious. So,
And
yeah.
and this and Randy, here, this is for you. This is for you, Randy. And we have and that and for you, Randy, and and then as that, and then this, provided you follow all those rules there, Randy, you too can experience this ascension as well. If you follow if you, but I know you don't believe in that, so I can tell because you're here just to stir up the pot.
Right.
But nevertheless, but if you're probably not even here anymore, but that's fine. Um, yeah,
So
and
see,
so
that's good. Like, that's like that, I got angry, and then we worked through that emotion, and you made us
well,
laugh.
I didn't see that there's any reason to get angry with that because for one thing, we're most we're just going out, we're just stepping out of Reiki conversation and we're looking into YouTube conversation. And the trolls are um they're there to yeah, they may make our lives miserable. However, if you are a content creator, they do boost your visibility. It's, they do that, and that is one thing. Now, what I have done is on the back end, I have put in filter words that I don't want people to. So if you start typing in those words, they get all automatically get filtered out. Now I'm a that list is always ever expanding. But so, anyways, that let's go back to Reiki and get back into that kind of stuff. And
So, Bill, I had last time I had tried to send you some Reiki during the session, but you didn't feel it during the our live. Did you feel it later in the day?
because you did I remember that you did something, and however, so much time has passed since then and now, and my um with every live stream and whatever that I've done, I seem to have forgotten everything from before. And
Okay. Yeah, and then I was gonna ask, like, do you remember? Because um, Anna, thank you so much for being here. I'm glad you're here and not judging, and we just really appreciate you. Thank you so much. So I had sent you some Reiki like later too. Do you remember that experience or no?
I do kind of. I think I had some pleasant dreams or something like that.
Oh, very good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm
Mhm.
glad. Yeah,
Anyways,
so I love Reiki because, you know, any faith, you could be Buddhist, Hindu, uh Christian, atheist, agnostic, and you can utilize Reiki, which is universal life force energy. And I just really love that. And I just think it's beautiful. It doesn't discriminate. It's not um just for, Japanese people or just for Christians or just for, it's for everybody. And as you can tell, there's so many different types of Reiki. You can find the one that resonates the most with you.
yeah. So you have. So then, I suppose you answered this, but how 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 important are the tools to the performance of Reiki? And then I'm sure that you consider yourself as one of the tools too. So, because without the most important tool of yourself, then Reiki couldn't be infused into the other.
So, the most important tool is literally being open, right? Like open and clear. So and for the person who is receiving the Reiki to also be open and accepting. It really is the most important tool is an open mind. Literally, just an open mind. I don't even need to like I used to draw the symbols out with my hand or with like a crystal or like a wand. I don't even need to do that anymore. I like to chant the symbols. Again, I don't even need to do the chanting anymore in my head or out loud. I literally can just think of the intention of that symbol, and bam, my hands are on fire and the Reiki is flowing through me. So, intention and and there is a technique that you don't even have to place your hands on somebody. You can send Reiki through your eyes, you or your like third eye. So you don't even have to touch somebody. It's literally the only tool you need is an open mind and intention once you've been practicing for a long time. That is it. The tools I like to use though are, chanting, drawing the symbols, crystals, um, drums, rattles. But again, that is kind of going into something different. That's more of the shaman aspect of it. But yeah, like literally they say like for the new age we don't need any tools, which is true. We don't need any tools. Everything is vibration, everything is frequency, everything can be done just by intention, which prayer is intention. Um we kind of talked about that the last time because I kind of reference this book. I didn't have it with me. Is Religion Good for Your Health? This is by Harold G. Koenig. This is The Effects of Religion on Physical and Mental Health. And I read this book in college in a psychology of religion class. And because I love psychology and I love religion. Like I had mentioned last time, my minor was in psychology and I could have double minored in religion, except I refused to take the religion classes on Christianity. I only did Hinduism and like Buddhism and
Yeah.
shamanism. But I love this book because it talks about the power of prayer and how prayer works, the power of meditation and how meditation works. And it's just, there's all these graphs and scientific, and this book is amazing if you want to know how. Um, how prayer kind of works on a scientific level, how religion affects society, and I just think it's really, really interesting. I kind of want an updated book. I want to see how religion is, does it still have a positive effect? Because I feel like religion, as it has been in the past, is kind of in death throes. We are moving into kind of a new into spirituality more, and how does religion affect mental health, and I want it compared men to women, because I truly believe, and this is gonna upset a lot of people, that religion was created by men for men, especially the monotheistic religions. Now the the religions that recognize the feminine aspects of God, there's still issues. The patriarchy is still heavily influenced and heavily like negatively affecting the lives of women in their communities as well. I mean, uh yeah. So we don't have to just blame like monotheism. Like these issues of the patriarchy affect every religion, whether they recognize a female deity or not. Now I'm reading Buckland's Complete Book of Witchcraft right now. I love this book. It's really great. And he actually, breaks it down. Like he talks about the history of religion and that all religions create a god that looks like them, right?
Hmm.
Um, and I think that's why we're seeing this shift from like high control religions, like evangelicalism and like Catholicism, um like fighting for their life against spirituality, because spirituality brings in that feminine aspect for women to be like recognize themselves. It's only natural that we would want to have a god or goddess that looks like us, represents us.
Yeah,
um,
yeah. So there was like Reza Aslan. I think he wrote a book called. It was a great book. Let me. I think that's what it is. Reza, and because he talks about that as being how we, as human beings, recreate God in our own image.
right.
Reza Aslan. Yeah, that's who he is. And what was his book? God was about. I've read it a few times. God, a Human History. That was the
Oh,
name of the book. Yeah, it's a great book.
you
God,
mentioned that the last time. God, a Human History. Who's it by?
Reza Aslan.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see if I can go and find a listing of that and share it here.
Hello, Ancient Healer. Welcome, welcome.
Yeah, I think I can do this. Just if you're like watching, listening in, the Tools of Fortune is my other channel, and so I am kind of content moderating here as well. And so I have two channels. One of them is this one, and the other one is just Tools of Fortune, which I do nothing but divination on it. And so it's my total niche down, whereas this one is all over the place, content wise. It's all over the place.
Bill, did you just start a third channel?
No, though I have this is I those are old channels. Those are my first uh 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 uh, uh my first trips into YouTube way in the way back time, and so those were the times when I was just having fun with it, and I wasn't really worried about doing anything, and but yeah, that was in most of those videos are unwatchable. They're completely unwatchable, and so so since then, when I started this channel, I tried to make watchable content, but I know that I fail at that all the time because when you start doing random stuff, you delve into the area of unwatchable content, and
Well, Bill, I mean, people watch you. You have thousands of followers and,
well,
thousands of.
I just have a shade over 1,000 but a lot of those thousands are people who clicked the subscribe button when I was doing entertainment short form content, and then half of those people are people who like me, like on the Penhead Press or the random idiot um, channel. I push the sub button probably 5,000 times with that channel, and I don't unsub. So maybe YouTube automatically filters out some of those things, but you issue your support, and so how many of those are active? Because see, if I go down and look at the statistics, and I see that 80% of the people who come into this channel, they just watch it once and then they're gone, you know, something like that.
Bill, don't sell yourself short. Like people, like Anna says, people adore you. They love watching your content. You have over 1,000. Like, don't sell yourself short. I've been with my Sarah's Prismatic Musings. That channel is over 5 years old, and I'm still stuck around 200 followers. Like, I can't seem to get out of. I can't. People don't hit subscribe. So you're doing something right. Give yourself, a pat on the back.
Well, I guess where I kind of if I we go you go out of the conversation and we go back into YouTube and I go into YouTube complaints, and I do want to do a show strictly on YouTube, and look at my watch hours as they go down, because see,
Yeah.
a year ago in September I got 600 watch hours, and all of the 600 watch hours are going away. So like last May, I was at 2,600 watch hours, and now I'm at like 1,700. So it's a process of erasing those because you're it's calculated on a 365-day period, and and we're going forward, and so I'm going out of what and so I think it was like, yeah, I did 1,000 watch hours just like in June, July, no, July, August, and September 2024 alone, and all of those are being erased right out of my existence, and so
Yeah, it's frustrating. It's so
yeah, but that's
you
the way it is.
like I have a love-hate relationship with YouTube. Like I always say I'm gonna like just stop creating content because I'm burnt out. I'm tired. Like I said, my first channel is over 5 years old. I have close to 200 videos up and only around 200 followers. It gets very again, I said something like earlier, like we don't do things for free. Yet here I am on YouTube doing things for free.
Yeah,
And it's a lot of work, especially editing and, preparing, and it's a lot. And so,
yeah.
I look at it as it's a hobby. and it's a way to like connect and have community. I mean, if I wasn't doing it, I would have never met you, which is cool, you know. And I would have never met like Selena and like just so many great people, and Anna wouldn't have found us. And so like, you know, this is a like such a great community and I love it. And so that's what keeps me going. But I also, it makes me sad that we don't have this community in real life. Like when I lived in Phoenix, I had a community, you know. um I went to, let me, Rod Lyman, and he has a Reiki school. And so even though he wasn't my Usui Reiki teacher, like I went and took Karuna from him, and I took Blue Star, and he did what's it called? Like the Reiki shares that I was telling you about. And so like I could go, and I met a lot of amazing people, and I met like two of my like really best friends. I have a really crazy story. Can I tell you a story about
Yeah,
giving?
go ahead.
Okay, so I was at a Reiki share with at Rod's school, his Reiki school, and I'm working on this gentleman who he was a professor. I don't remember, a professor of religion or history, something like that.
Mhm.
And he had just gotten back from Amherst in Salem, and from Massachusetts he went to Salem. And like he had been talking about it, but you know, I didn't know him. I didn't want to like overstep. And actually I think he was a professor at that metaphysical school that troll was talking about. um yes, he was, because I'm also a trained hypnotherapist. I kind of mentioned that last time. And I was trying to get into the classes to do to learn past life regression, because that's on my list to learn next, is to do past life regression. Anyway, he gets on the table, and me and like my friends were doing Reiki. We're giving him a treatment, and all of a sudden he starts like convulsing, and like it scares me. Like totally scared me and my friend, who is like a seasoned like very powerful healer. She does Reiki, she does reconnective healing, which you keep asking about chiropractor. It's very
Mhm.
interesting. Reconnective healing was created by a chiropractor. So this chiropractor created this energy healing technique called reconnective healing, and that's where you work off the body. And I realized that I had been doing that naturally. I didn't learn it from him, but that's how one of my best friends and I, we were doing Reiki, and our Reiki teacher always got mad at us because she's like, you got to be closer to the body, and we're working like way out here on their in their auric field. Anyway, so um he sits up, and we have a conversation, and we find out that we are distant cousins. We are
Mhm.
related through an ancestor, um from, because our families came over on the Mayflower. um
Oh,
yeah.
so who are your Mayflower parents?
The ancestors are actually
Yeah,
the OG. It's so funny. So the Pilgrims, what everybody recognizes is the Aldens, John Alden. They're the first people
yeah.
who stepped on the rock off the Mayflower. That's my ancestor. Those are my ancestors. So
Well, mine are John Howland and Elizabeth Tilley.
okay, cool. So they
Yeah,
were, you know, they were in like Salem. Again, not really Salem. It was Amherst. They were in Amesbury, Massachusetts. I don't know. The Salem Witch Trials incorporated more than just Salem, not just the town, and not just
yeah.
it was like the whole kind of like area,
The whole
kind of
region. Yeah.
that region. And anyway, what was her name? Like now, of course, I forgot it. Anyway, we find out that we are related through this woman who, she had been accused multiple times of witchcraft by the community. Her husband had always been alive, and were able to like he was able to protect his wife. Now the story goes that, like, you know, people didn't like her because they were the largest landowners in the area, so they had the most votes, so people were just out to get them, you know, like if you have
Mhm.
money, people are out to get you, right? Like that's just, it's always been that way through history. So her husband dies. She's a widow. She's keeping this hundreds and hundreds of acre farm running. She's elderly. How can she be surviving? How can she like run this farm by herself? She's an elderly woman. Okay, she speaks up. She's too opinionated. She's too loud. She has too many votes. Like, shut this woman up. Let's accuse her of witchcraft. So, the state got her, they stole her land, hundreds and hundreds of acres. And that's what I always view, these things. The government is always grabbing land from people. Um, they may give you something, but they're going to take it back, right? So anyway, the point is, we were like, and that's why he'd gone to Salem, was to kind of like pay his respects to her. And he went, there's a marker where her homestead used to be. Um, and one of our, like, I don't know how we're all related, but this other gentleman wrote a book about her. And so the guy, like, somebody will come out, like, if you go to her marker on her land, which now there's a highway going through, he'll come out and like give you the flyer about the book. So if you want to learn more about your ancestor, or, because I mean, I don't know, or just are curious. So this guy wrote this book. Let me see if I can pull it up.
Welcome back, Anna. Welcome, Ancient Healer. Welcome. I can't pronounce your word. I'm sorry, your name that ends in Nova. Um, was not really able to do the whole phonics thing. Hmm. Quivinova. Okay, well, I can. Did Sarah just freeze? She did. She froze for a second. Oh, that's because she exited out for a second, and then she's going to come back in.
Okay,
Okay.
so the woman was Susanna North Martin. Stephen Harley Martin wrote a book about her. And so anyway, why this gentleman was like convulsing on the table was because he was releasing, I feel like, me facilitating that Reiki session for him, it released a lot of ancestral karma. That's how I view it, is like, um, that's a lot of trauma in the genetic, in the family line, is having someone persecuted. Um,
Yeah. Hmm.
because she was a Christian, everybody who was accused of witchcraft during the Salem witch trials were Christian. Um, it was just an unfortunate event.
Well, it's always the. Well, I guess because when you go back to your statement that the Abrahamic religions were not, they were for, they were not for the women, they were just for the men. And so if you look at how that history had been crafted, starting with like some of the things I think there was like in the book of Hebrews or in Romans, or I don't know exactly, but it was that where you have a woman cannot achieve salvation on her own merits, but she can only do it through childbirth. And so that's also set it up that it's not able to. That's one of the things that exists there. It's in the scriptures, and then you, because it goes all the way, because it goes back to that whole narrative of there's Adam, and then there's Eve, and Eve was tempted by the serpent to give Adam the fruit, and then from that the whole human race is damned, and that's that narrative, and that's the whole Christian idea of depravity comes from that, and that's why women have to be punished, and that's why why that? And welcome, Landon. Welcome. And so if you were looking at those things, and that's just in the how the this particular form of religion, how it manifested, and how it manifested from the standpoint of when, because if I look at like it my how I've changed my stance through time, and I see the early church as beginning in like 320, and then where the formation of is between 320 and 380, and it's not everything that came before that. It may be a completely different philosophical path altogether. Now, it doesn't mean to say that that strand did not exist in it, but what we were are the modern origins of how Christianity is manifested today. It's rooted between that time period of 320 and 380, when the Roman Empire took that religion and it recrafted it. And so it took all of the welcome Sansu, it took all of the the women apostles, it took all of those, and the women, and the women the where the women bishops that are referenced in the Pauline literature. It took all of that out. It took women out of leadership. It took all of that out in order, and it recrafted the narrative. And so that's what you're talking about. And so when you say that Christianity is a religion by men for men, and I think that is a truth. But it doesn't mean it doesn't mean it has to be that way, because it can be refashioned. It can be
Yeah.
refashioned, and no, even like my favorite gospel is the Gospel of Thomas, but even that is very it's it has an it is not a female centric document at all. And then there's it's not just that. You like, let's say you look at um anyways, welcome, Paul. And if you look at, it's 11:11 now. That's what the 11 people watching, 11 likes. Well, now it's back. But if you look at, like, from what I learned about Hinduism, is that back was that they you could only gain nirvana or whatnot if you were born a male and a part of a particular caste.
Yeah.
And so that whole patriarchal thought was pervasive for a few thousand years, for the last 4 or 5 thousand years, but maybe not prior to that. Who knows when that came into human consciousness? But it doesn't mean it's going to stay there forever, because, as you say, we're in this process of being born again, if we want to use that language, and that the whole spirituality of today is in the process of going through a rebirth. And I think that's why there is a whole lot of fight going on. And if I were to, like, go here, I wasn't planning on going here, but I kind of see what's going on in the United States or the Western world right now is a backlash. It's about shutting this down, of the entrance of this sort of a God consciousness in our reality. And it's really all about keeping it here, and keeping that God consciousness in our reality, on that cross and dead. And it's not about progressing forward. And so that maybe they are looking for this rapture, but they're only looking to be pulled out of the situation. They're not looking for this, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, because that Lord's Prayer, it talks exactly how to bring the kingdom of God. It's just by doing what the will is, whatever that is. And if that means, well, how it is outlined is by doing love thy neighbor, welcome the stranger, take care of the poor, because it's a works-based system. It's a system of I'm getting kind of preachy here. I'm sorry. I don't want to go into this realm of anything that might be offensive to people, but maybe that is offensive to people, of that sense of you love God by serving your neighbor or the enemy or whoever it is that you consider undesirable, and that's how that is done. So that's how it's outlined. It's outlined in the gospel. But as we before we turn the live on, we as we said that I this a lot of these religious movements that are modern are not at all based upon the teachings of Jesus. They're based upon their own teachings and their own self-aggrandizement. And
Yeah.
because it's like there was like a now this is like kind of a segue into somewhere else in the early before before 1776, before the United States was the United States and we were a bunch of colonies, there was a lot of the preachers and so forth were paid for. Welcome Mama Sushi, welcome Julianne. They were paid for by the state, but then that changed, and now the state was no longer paying the salaries of the preachers, and so the preachers had to go out and hustle in order to make money. And so I think where you see a lot of these really flashy, the charismatic Christianity, the snake charmers, and all of that stuff came out of needing to attract people into their doors so that those people can give them money so that they can survive. And so I think American evangelicalism is directly comes out of that that the marketplace of religion. If that does that make any sense? And
Yeah.
so you have to yeah,
It's
yeah,
that it's capitalism is like ruining everything, like but we unfortunately our system is based on, people say they love God and they love, their religion and they love their church, but what they really love is they really love money and they really love fame and they really love all the things that religion tells us not to love. Like really, and even the preachers love that,
yeah. Well,
because as we see, we have, like in the Gospels, like Jesus flipping tables and Jesus being like, against capitalism. Yet that is in the United States and in the Western world our true God is
yeah.
capitalism.
Well,
So yeah, and it is
yeah,
all wrapped up in politics, and it's all wrapped up in the haves and the haves not, like what you were talking about before we came on. Like it's all wrapped up in colonialism, skin color, class. But all these religions are, even Hinduism, like,
yeah,
and capitalism isn't as like prevalent there. So it's interesting that you see this across the lines. And you see a lot of these religious um uh preachers and religious people coming up and gaining power off of the hard work and the backs of women.
yeah.
And if they couldn't subjugate and put women down, then they wouldn't be able to be as high. You know what I mean? Like spend all
Mhm.
their time praying or meditating, or if it wasn't for the labor of women. So it's for me, I know that I talk a lot about Christianity because that's the religion I was raised in.
Mm,
But it's across all cultures and all religions, and it's just super highlighted right now because we
yeah,
are going to be changing this. Things are going to look very, very different in like 7-8 years. um,
yeah,
so is that good? Is that bad? I think it's good. I think we need change, and I think the
Mhm.
energies. Um, I think we need um more voices, and we need change.
Yeah, well, we to go forward into a future where we become a planetary society and we escape the bounds of the solar system and so forth, we need everybody, and it can't be done with um, it can't be done as a well. I mean, 'cause I'm a huge science. I look at I look at science fiction as like it was the prophecy for our day and age, and so the biblical prophecies, the end time stuff, all that stuff refers to those people in the past. Now, it doesn't mean to say that those teachings that there are teachings there that are valid and so forth. But I just think you can just, I kind of feel like Thomas Jefferson. And Thomas Jefferson cut all that crap out. He just he took, if you ever seen a Thomas Jefferson Bible, his own, and it's like it's in a museum in Washington D.C. someplace, or the Smithsonian or someplace, and he just went through with a razor blade and he cut out all the miracles, the virgin birth. He cut out the resurrection. He cut all that crap out. And so it's like that's all stuff that he felt was completely unnecessary. And probably you could take the entire Old Testament and you can cut all of that out. You just concentrate on and then maybe even the Gospel of John. Maybe you don't, because that's kind of magical. You can just cut that out. You cut Paul out. cut the cut the book of Revelations out, because you don't necessarily need that. And think, okay, now we have a piece of philosophy that you can kind of look at to that. And as far as having that, and that's that sense of that Thomas Jefferson, because he was an Enlightenment thinker. And if Thomas Jefferson, I would probably venture to say that he probably was an atheist.
Mhm.
Or at very least he was agnostic. And now I
Yeah.
think, you know, and a lot of those founders of the United States of America, the constitutional framers, they probably would have been classified as atheists today, or atheists in the sense that they of a rejection of that predominant thought that was there. They rejected theocratic societies. They wanted
Right.
nothing to do with that. And I think there was like a story of Thomas Jefferson fleeing Massachusetts with his life. He had to, because Massachusetts was a theocratic area. The state, or whatever, before it was a state, it was as a colony, it was a theocratic place. He fled with his life because he was in danger of being stoned to death or lynched or burned at the stake or whatever it was, because of his beliefs. And then, if I just as a step back from when preachers were paid for by the state, um, church attendance was under 20% in the United States. And
Wow.
so there was no there so they were there was no draw for people to go to church. And so that's another reason why think that those why you got these flashy religions and the prosperity gospels and all that, the tent revivals and all that is in order just to attract people in so you can get a paycheck. And that's why I think why a lot of American Christianity is so divergent away from or the gospel, or why they will spend most of their time in Paul, or why they'll spend it in Leviticus, while the or whatever their fancy is. And so that's enough of my soapbox. Do I have that thing here? Yeah, here we go. Soapbox.
Yeah.
I needed to put this thing on here as soapbox. I was on my soapbox here.
I needed
Anyway,
that earlier. I needed that earlier, Bill, when people said I was preaching.
no, yeah, it's all right. It's fine. We went with where it went to, and so I think that we kind of went into a little bit deeper into Reiki, and so we can have you come back on. Maybe we can just go in and talk about this stuff instead, because we are both passionate about this, and
I
you
don't
know.
know much. Like, I you know way more than I do, Bill. Like, my interests lie in Reiki and magic and
Hmm.
the occult, and I do like Gnosticism. I think Gnosticism is amazing. I think,
Yeah,
it's sad that it was considered I can't say that word.
heretical.
Yes,
Well, I'm a heretic, you know.
I know you are. That's why you're cool.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's like, gosh, it was like when I was more active in Facebook, I reopened it up, but I don't know. It's hard. I'd like to delete it, but it's like if I want to go to a class reunion, that's where they contact you through. If somebody in my class dies, that's where I find out about it, or whatever. And so I have like there was like 35 people in my graduating class, and
Oh wow.
have some of their phone numbers, and some of them, anyways. But never, I don't know where I was going, but I guess where I was going was of
It's because
how
you don't want to delete Facebook because that's how you keep track of people.
it's how I keep track of people. But when I was a little bit more active, there were some people I went to used to work with, and I remember I couldn't quite figure it out. And he says, "I just don't understand, Bill. I don't understand why it is you hate God so much." And I'm thinking, where'd you get that from? Oh, I see it all down your page, all your posts, even your art. Your art speaks to me. But I think what it was is that he was so wrapped up within his evangelicalism
Hmm.
that anybody who maybe it was all about my voting record more so than anything else. It's like you can tell who is a Christian and who's not by their voting record. You can tell by yeah.
I find
Yeah.
that, like,
Yeah.
you told me you I learned stuff from you, like, before we even went live, and I didn't know all of that, and like, that just melts my mind because it's just counterintuitive to everything that I was raised to believe. So,
Mm.
um whew, like, that is just crazy that they tie it to, like, voting. I mean,
Well,
no.
the tide of voting occurred in the 80s. It was with the rise of the moral majority, and it was about they in the civil rights movement, and I can't remember the guy's name. It's right on the tippy top of my head of who it was that because prior to 1978, almost all evangelicals were on board with the whole Roe v. Wade thing, and they were pushing for it.
Yeah.
They were pushing for it. But the what the and this isn't necessary. I'm just talking history. I'm not talking politics.
Right.
But I'm talking a little bit about recent history. And so there was a flip in there that they used the abortion issue to galvanize people in order to vote for them. But where what they wanted to do was to keep their schools separate between white people and colored people, whoever they determined who were colored. And so because that became again because of resegregation, or getting rid of segregation in the country through the civil rights movement, they could no longer say that. And so that's where they went to the next issue because that was an extremely important issue for because evangelicalism as we know it today has it had its roots in like the Civil War era. It had its roots, Christian, a lot of Christian fundamentalism and all that had its roots um, in the Civil War South, and it's a southern manifestation, and so anyways, that was kind of what the issue was, is to keep things as they were, as like you said, your town at Roswell of wanting to keep the town as it is, as it was.
Yes.
Well, that's what they wanted. They wanted to keep their culture as it is, as it was, and they didn't want to integrate these people into their lives. They didn't want to do that. And
Right.
but they were forced to by the federal government to do so. And so that's where this next issue came into line. And then within that shift, that's where also they started pushing this idea that um if you are a Democrat, you are a godless Democrat, you are this and that and that and that. And if you're a so that's where the whole fusion between politics and religion came into being, was during the 1980s. And so prior to the 1980s, if you voted, it didn't matter how you voted. But after the 1980s, that's when it started to become a an issue of faith for them, and where they could go out and say, if you vote this way, if you voted for Barack Obama, then you're damned to hell for all eternity. That's just a little bit of a history there, and I'm probably a little bit wrong in my details, but
I
that's to my understanding.
That's so sad. Like, I just think that's so sad. Like, I mean, I stopped calling myself a Catholic because I'm a confirmed Catholic a long time ago. And I stopped calling myself a Christian a long time ago. If I was still um, practicing, I think I would be so ashamed right now to call that my religion.
Hmm.
Um, I don't understand the cognitive dissonance of the real message of Christianity and Catholicism and religion with the way that people are treating each other. Like, it just, I don't understand. It's like, as the Karuna Reiki said, like, it was supposed to be about love. Like, the
Yeah,
message of Mother Mary and like Christianity was love.
yeah.
What happened to the love? I guess it's because we are flipping into that like mental, that air energy, right? So air
Hmm.
energy is more masculine and is just um but I don't know. It's such a sad, like, it just makes me sad. Like, everybody's feeling isolated, everybody's feeling alone, everybody's feeling like, what happened to our country? Like, we do need to go back to the Constitution. I mean, that is what makes America, the
Yeah.
United States, great, is the
But then
Constitution,
at the same time, the other side, they feel like they are going back to the Constitution.
while they're tearing it apart,
Yes,
while
exactly.
they're while they're tearing it apart.
That's what they believe, and so yeah, yeah,
Uh-oh.
yeah. What
Why
happened?
Mr. Pumpkin King needs to be, I don't know if you can
Oh, well,
I just blocked him.
okay,
He's harassing. Sorry, Anna. You okay? I just
okay,
I blocked him.
okay, good. Um,
It is not nice to threaten people, like, that's not okay. That's not acceptable.
mhm,
So yeah, I mean, it just makes me like so sad. I feel like everybody's feeling like in that, like, Anna, it's not because of you. Trolls are just trolling, like,
yeah, Yeah, don't worry about that.
Don't yeah, he's gone.
Hmm.
Um, so, it's just and I don't know if the rest of the world is feeling this or if it's just the United States. Um, it's just really, really a difficult time right now. Like, I really wish, if these people, if these groups want to separate, like, let's just separate. Like, uh because, and that's why I don't know. I can't
Well,
articulate. I don't want to offend anybody, but at the same time, like, I've spent the last how many months? 11 months being so deeply offended most of the time and just so deeply like hurt that this
well,
is
yeah,
what's
and so
happening.
it's that you can't really dwell in that energy too much. So if you dwell in that energy, did we freeze?
I don't think so.
Well, we can't tell from this view, but I was wondering if we just because there's something happened anyway.
Oh, okay.
To dwell in this energy, well, it just kind of makes your, as you know, with the Reiki thing, it makes your body ill.
What makes dwelling. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
No, see, and I know all of this, and it's so even for me, like, and I know this, right? Like, I know, like, don't dwell on it and like let it go and like don't take it on as your own and use Reiki and prayer. Um, and I know that a lot of the tactics are psychological and it's just it is a mental game, right? Like it is like, okay, stay positive, stay upbeat, like stay focused on your own truth. And I
yeah,
feel like because the psychological bombardment of the messaging and the trolls and the social media, like I did delete my Facebook account. Like I had to.
yeah.
Because there's people that I think are wonderful people and really nice who are spewing what I view as hate speech and they view it
Yeah.
as being loving. And I don't, I feel like we've stepped into an upside down world and I don't recognize this world. And it just makes me very sad. I thought we were making progress. I thought we were making progress with, civil rights and with human rights and with equality for women and I just, equality for sexuality and for just people to be who they are. And I thought it was wonderful. And then all of a sudden, this pushback, this,
Well, but that's just the way it is.
yeah,
Because there's a it there's you can only move so far in one direction before there's a pushback because yeah, maybe
right,
a certain amount of people are making some progress, but there's a lot of people who don't want that progress, like the town that you're living in.
right, yeah,
You want to keep it as it is and keep everything as is,
right.
you know. And so yeah, uh, yeah,
Yeah, and so, I think it was better, back in the 90s and the 80s and the 70s when people were just, it wasn't polite to talk religion. It wasn't polite to talk politics. It wasn't polite, um, you kept that stuff to yourself. And, it's good that we have community and we're open, right? Like,
mhm,
but at the same time, I don't, and I wouldn't post political stuff on my Facebook because it's nobody else's business. Like, keep that to yourself. Like, now,
yeah,
so it's like a fine line. It's like, it's important for like education, but we see that um a lot of what's being taught online, like especially with politics and religion, is propaganda and it's incorrect information. It's
mhm,
misinformation. And and it's affecting us negatively because it's good that everyone has the right to like freedom of speech, but at the same time, um
Hmm.
maybe those things should be kept to and I know that this is ironic. We're here talking about religion and we've kind of touched a little bit on politics. um so I see the irony. I guess it's because we're speaking our truth of how we experience it. um
Yeah.
but we're not trying to like we're not trying to we're not trying to like influence people, right? Like, does that make sense? Like, we're not trying, we're just speaking our truth. I think there's a difference
Yeah.
between
Yeah.
speaking.
Not trying to not we're not trying to tell you how you need to believe because you need to figure that out for yourself.
Exactly. Like, you believe what you want to believe, like you do what you need to do, but this is just the information, right? Like, so I guess there's a difference, and there's like different energies and different ways of going about it. And I guess we're just maybe it is like too much information, and that's why I don't, there's just certain things about people I don't want to know. Like,
Yeah.
I, I don't want to know.
Well, I wanted to I think I need to wrap this up because I got to go do some duties, and so forth. But I wanted to thank Anna um for your support today. And you have a really interesting channel. I did look at your channel. You have some nice cat videos and so forth, and some other things. And so yeah. And she's like sitting at 931 subs now. And so she's like right there, really close to it. I wonder how her watch time is doing though. And yeah, my mom and the pup. Yeah, mother, she's kind of getting antsy. She's getting a little antsy here, and was because of I need to go get her lunch or something like that. And nevertheless, so that's why I probably and thank you, Sarah, for being here. Thank you, Ancient Healer. I'm still gonna thank the trolls for being here because they gave me a little watch time, even if it was only a few minutes. Um, eh, oops, it disappeared, and maybe she'll come back in. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Julie Ann. Thank you, Mama Sushi. And thank you, everyone else. And if you are still there, um, Sarah, you can pop back in for a second because you popped out. And oh, you can't come back in. All right. And thank you very much for being here, Tarot Oracle for the Soul. And please go over her channel and the link is pinned in the chat section. You can go to her channel and uh, go add to her sub count, which she needs. And if you're watching this on the playback, leave a shooting star in the comment section if you made it this far. And I want to just enjoy your day. I'm gonna go do my chores. I got a bunch of chores to do. And yeah. And yesterday I'll have a video edited for my adventures yesterday. Probably tomorrow, the next day. I'll probably upload that like on Thursday maybe. And Sarah, thank you very, very much for joining me on this wonderful conversation. I want to have you back and we can just shoot the breeze and talk about stuff. Anyways, that's all I got for you. And I'll be back to do some more random content in the near future. I am preparing myself to do an art fair in 2 months or less than 2 months. So I got a lot of content to do. But I also want to have more people come on, at least maybe once a week, to have somebody come on and we can have one of these talks. So I don't know who's next. I don't know who's next to come on, but maybe it'll be you. If you want to come on, my show email address is the.999 show@gmail.com, and then eventually you might be able to have people come in over the telephone. That's maybe a possibility. I'm still getting my sound worked out, getting I haven't got that dialed in. I'm hoping that I'm into my fourth year of this channel. I'm hoping that I can get the sound dialed in, so you're not go on a stone wall. Okay. All right. All right, Anna, thank you, everyone, and we will see all the next time. Bye bye.